every week I get quite excited to do my webinars. And this week particularly, I'm more excited because I got friends in the house. I got friends in the house, yeah? So everybody say hi to your audience.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
I've got the super people on here. I call them the super professionals. Let me start with the ones I know. All right, I'm gonna start with Maurice Aberdeen. Because the reason I'm starting with him is because these locks that I have on my hair, which I cut off and put back on again. Because of him. It's your fault that I have them, Maurice. So thank you so much for encouraging me to locks up, because of you, it's great. Oh, can you hear all the music outside? That's what it's like in the Caribbean. On Sunday, they drive past and they got all their music banging away outside. And then you're going to hear the lady upstairs playing her music. But I just wanted you lot to feel the vibe, yeah? Because I'm in the Caribbean and you lot are Caribbean, but you're all the way in England. I'm so sorry. So I'm going to start off by asking you all to basically tell people about yourself. 2 minutes each. Just say your name and who you are. Let's start with Maurice.
Yeah, well, my name is Maurice Aberdeen. I'm the founder of Maurice Roots.
On their phone. Could you turn your phone off, please? Okay, start again, Maurice.
Yeah, my name is Maurice Aberdeen. I'm the founder of Maurice Roots, chain of salons in London. I've been in the game for over 20 years. I'm like proper salon, but I've sort of branched off now as more or less like training and other little bits and pieces. That's me really in a nutshell, yeah.
Yeah, I know you're being nice. I know you're being nice because I know that you've done so much more than that. But I'm going to drag that out in a minute. Okay, and the next person is Verona. On here, you'll see she says B White, but I know her as Verona. Tell the audience a little bit about you.
Right, yeah. Everybody calls me V. You know, they're comfortable with calling me that. Yeah, so I'm Verona White. I'm hairstylist to people from all different walks of life. Next year, I'll be doing hair 30 years. So I was doing it before I was born, put it that way. And I've got a passion for the natural hair, the science of hair, the ingredients, what comes in hair. And I'm also a wig technician. I've been doing that most of my career. So I do training in China and India, which I'm actually going to cease now. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of me in a nutshell as well. I'm going to keep it low, just like Maurice.
Yeah, because we're going to come back to you. And then last but not least, is this wonderful lady called Germaine. She's got a double barrel name, but she's going to say it for you. Trichologist that everybody talks about. And I thought, who's she? I never heard of her. I'm not going to find out. 2 days later, I'm still reading her accolades because she's done so much. Germaine, tell them about you.
So I am a doctor in trichology. The name is Dr. Germaine Williams-Beckles, doctor in trichology, best-selling author and the creator of the Dr. G's Hair Growth Formula. I'm also the founder of the Ryoji Wellness Lifestyle Hair and Scalp Clinic. I'm really excited to be here, Sherry, and it's nice to meet both of you. And I'm just excited to go and give information. I have these, you know, I encourage beauty professionals to raise the bar, get more knowledgeable. So when they see different issues in their salons, they would be able to help their clients. So I do that through online programs. Yeah, so that's basically a nutshell of me, yeah?
Yeah, that keeps you busy for days and days. I'm lucky to actually get you on for this hour, right?
Well, I'm always, you know, because I've cut down hours, and this is what I try to help beauty professionals achieve. I do much less hours than I used to. And right now it's more fun than, it's not work. It's really fun.
And I like that. Well, that's a good lead in, because I think that most of us, including me, do all what we do because of fun. I don't actually see what I do as work at the moment, anyway, until I don't get a few little pennies and I'm on the road trying to eat 2 mangoes. At the moment, it's really great fun. And when I was beauty editor first of Pride, I was beauty editor when I first met you, Morris. And then I was always intrigued about getting your hair natural. I didn't understand. Wherever you are, please tell the people around you to keep the phones off, right? Because it echoes in the back. But I just always wanted to have natural hair. And then Morris came to Pride magazine, where I was the magazine editor then, and he was talking about it. And I was like, gosh, that's so interesting. I didn't understand locks at all. Just didn't understand it. Probably perception, where our parents didn't like locks. You know, it's like, you can't wash your hair, you can't do this, you can't do that. And none of that is necessarily true. So today we're going to dispel those myths. And really we're talking about hair and the issues that we have with breakages of hair, understanding, as Verona was talking about yesterday, how many supplements, or not supplements, but food, nutritional products that we should be eating that helps towards hair. And of course, I was listening to you, Morris, on the Afro Live show. Don't think I don't follow you around. I'm still a journalist. I do my investigation. And I heard you talking so much about all hair is natural. We must remember that first, right, Morris? All hair is natural. So that, you see, I heard you. All hair is natural first. Everything else is what else you do to it, process or whatever. So let me start off with a few questions. Why does my hair break? I put out something, and that's the basic questions that people are saying. My hair is always dry or it breaks. I'm going to put that question out. Should we start with you, Morris, then Germaine, then Verona?
There are numbers of reasons why your hair could break, and it depends on the type of breakage. You've got hair breakage, and then you've got hair that breaks from the scalp. You know, you've got different type of breakage. So, you know, it depends on what type of breakage actually. If you're talking about locks breakage, you know, you could mean your hair could be thinning, or it could actually be breaking in patches, like alopecia patches. Do you know what I mean? So it really depends upon. It could also be bad care in terms of the type of products that you use could cause your hair to break. So it could be illnesses, bad care, bad twisting, you know, the type of products that you might use would build up over a period of time. So different kind of things constitute to different type of breakage. You as the stylist or loctician or hair care practitioner need to kind of almost identify the type of breakage and then diagnostic, and then tell the person, yes, this is why your hair is breaking. But I think that is a number of reasons, and one of them would be health. The second would be care in terms of the way you handle your hair. It could be products based on build-up, right? And you know, again, alopecia spots. It could be hereditary as well that causes your hair to break. If your parents have got certain pattern baldness, it can be passed on not only from your direct parent, but from previous parent, like your grandparents, on both sides as well. So it could be different reasons. It could be hereditary. It could be bad care. It could be illnesses. It could also be the way in which the techniques that you use that could cause those breakage.
Germaine, thank you, Morris. Germaine.
Yes, well, I would agree with all that Morris has just said. And breakage is what we call physical hair loss. So physically, if your hair is breaking now, your hair is not going to just break just like that. You must establish what exactly is happening. You lose about 80 to 100 strands per day. You know the difference between hair breakage and hair loss by simply looking at the edges of your hair strand once it comes out. So it's sort of easy. If there's no bulb on the ends of that hair strand, it means that you are actually suffering with hair breakage. And as Marie said, chemicals, different bad procedures, chemicals that today there's a lot of products for natural kinky hair, for it to feel softer and elongate the curl. And some more investigations need to be made into some of the root products, you know, that actually constitute to the product lines, because some of them actually, after prolonged use, prolonged exposure, leave your hair in a very fragile state. And that is something that I believe most persons should know, because there are, when I was doing my thesis, and there was this young lady who decided that she wanted to examine why so many persons in her country of Jamaica was suffering with hair loss. And when the research was done, there was a very popular hair dress that actually contributed to so many persons who were using it to lose their hairline. So you must establish, as Marie said, what is the type of issue that you are having, and you are supposed to lose 100 and at least 180 to 120 strands per day. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you. Verona, you know what I'm talking about when I say to you about hair loss. A lot of women that maybe come to you because you do weaves and wigs, not weaves, wigs, is because the hair is too much of a loss. In the middle, I think here, around the hairline. How do you deal with that? Or what do you tell them?
Okay, yeah, so echoing from what Germaine's saying and Maurice is saying, you know, I don't want to repeat exactly what they're saying, is I think what we have to be is educate people more about, one, what kind of products they are buying, knowing the difference between natural and organic products. If I can just touch just lightly on the amount of money that's spent. We spend trillions of pounds per year on products because we want to either stop hair loss, or we want to retain the moisture, we want to keep our locks healthy, compared to the amount of healthy hair. One, unless your hair's being locked, then you'll see it growing down because obviously the hair is matted. But people with loose natural hair, it is kind of rare to see it long and healthy and bouncy. So what we have to realize as well is the conspiracy of certain people making these products who sometimes does understand our hair, but they make their money either from us buying products, and then they know that it's ultimately going to dry out our hair. And when it dries out our hair, then we go over to the wigs. So I think it's one aspect, as I said, I'm echoing from what they're saying is that we need to be educated on the ingredients, one, in the products, and the other thing is what our nutrition, understanding how everything goes. Like, for instance, when somebody's going through their menopause, how do we, not go through certain things, i.e. like sweating, how is our body functioning? So I think what a lot of us need to do is get educated, and our hairstylists as well. They need to educate themselves as well. So when you're treating, your client, then you actually know. And if you don't know, when do you recommend somebody to go to your trichologist?
Right. So in that case, I come back to you, Germaine. What is the biggest problem that you have of people coming to you with a trichologist? Most people just come to a trichologist when you've got an issue. Like I remember years ago, I went to a trichologist because the middle of my hair was breaking. And at that time, I didn't know why it was breaking. It would just look like somebody went in the middle of my head with a lawnmower and just went round. It was like a big hole in the middle of my head. So what is the biggest problem and your recommendations?
All right, so I would say the problem today is hair loss, period. It's hair loss. So some people come to me and I see androgenetic alopecia very frequently because 70% of men, all men with hair loss, suffers with androgenetic alopecia. 90% of men and 70% of women. And when women look at themselves in the mirror and they see that their hair is beginning to separate and they get so confused and sometimes they don't know where to turn for answers because they come to me and say, Dr. G, I'm affectionately called Dr. G. So they would say like, Dr. G, my hair was this way when I was in my teens, I always had long hair. I always had thick hair. Now look at my hair. Androgenetic alopecia is hormonal hair loss. And as soon as someone start going through those hormonal changes, and your body, you identify that this is where you are, whether it's in your health, whether it's in, like for some people, it's stress that in its earlier stages. But the most concern that I see is women who are suffering with female baldness. And it's so easy to identify because once you look in the mirror straight on and you see your hair begin to part, and you have a hereditary factor, so auntie or daddy or somebody had hair loss, you should be able to identify. The issue is most people wait too long to address the issue, and keeping the hair is the important factor. Oh, you don't have to look like daddy, but you must identify this is where your hair is going to go. I'm going to eventually look like daddy. So the question is, what is the right time for me to start self-care? Self-care in the sense of preventing this hair loss to go into the stage that dad's hair loss is or was. So that's the question, Sherry. So I see androgenetic alopecia. It can be reversed in some instances. Sometimes people wait too long until they are actually going almost bald or more than 50% of the hair is gone. But if they come in before and decide, look, I want to keep my hair, what can you do? We can help and slow that hair loss down, although it's hereditary.
So it's all about spotting the signs before it actually happens. Until it goes too bad. Morris. Right. Morris, I remember, thank you, Germaine. Sorry, that was so rude of me. Thank you. Morris, I remember when I came to you and I said I wanted to go locks. I want to talk about locks now. And I said I want to go locks, and you said, well, you have to cut off all your hair first. And you made me go to the barbers. I had a good relationship with them men in the barbers because I was going there for a few months, just taking it off before you twisted it. Can you explain to people what is the process of locks, getting to locks? The process.
Well, if your hair's been processed, yes. And I use the word processed, chemically processed, right? Where it's been permed. You've got to take the perm away, because a lot of people toy with the idea that unnatural hair can lock. Unnatural hair cannot really lock.
Right.
Because what actually causes the lock is that, Dr. Germaine just mentioned just now that your hair, you have a natural hair loss of at least, I think 100 or 180, she mentioned, right? Those are the locks those are the hair, the hair that actually shreds from your hair is what it is you save. That is why there are people who hair don't normally grow long, and when they start locking, it grows long. So because locks becomes like a bank, that the shredded hair that is what you save from locking is actually shredded hair. That's why people try to unpick it and it dissipates in your hands. Right? Right. So, but the process of hair locking starts from a twist, either single twist, double twist, plaited, braided, or you've got the so-called instant locks now. But you start from twisting your hair. In your case, Sherry, when you came to me, because your hair was chemically treated, the advice was to take the chemicals off and we start from the fresh. So we started your hair from your natural hair in order for it to naturally grow long and healthy in that kind of healthy way. So I always prevent clients from starting to lock your hair from a chemical process, because I mean, you know, Verona will know this as well. When you perm your hair, you've got to always, or even, you know, you, Sherry, as well, when you perm your hair, you have to always go every 6 weeks for a touch-up. And if you don't touch it, your hair starts to break, because the natural and the unnatural starts to separate after a period of time. So you've got to either, you might upkeep it by blow drying it, but you've got to always retouch it, right? Because when you see that starts to happen and your natural hair starts growing out, the perm starts to break off naturally, right? Because that relationship between the unnatural and natural has to go. So with locks, locks is natural hair, right? Yeah. So you've got to start that natural hair process from the root going out, because your hair locked from the end rather than from the root. The root is the natural hair that comes out of your scalp and oxidizes and grows out. But the ends of your hair is what locked. And that has to be natural all the way through. So that process is why I always advise clients, you might try to cheat, but sooner or later the hair would break.
Yeah, because I've seen that happen before when people can't waste. They can't waste.
That's right. That's right. You've got to take it off. That's the best process. You know, you are ascending onto something natural, right? Yeah. So you've got to take the process or the unnatural or the chemically treated hair. Having said that, your hair can be unnaturally colored, right? Which doesn't really change the shaft of the hair in texture, but it changes the actual color. So it moves from, say, like a hue to, you know, from like a black to a bleach, a black to a blonde, or a black to a red, or a black to a brown. So although that you would have gone through that sort of chemical process, the actual shaft of the hair has not changed. That coil hasn't changed. So you can lock your hair from there. But once you put chemical in your hair, right, that harsh perm, right, and you want to lock your hair from there, you've definitely got to cut it and start it from you in the natural. So a shiny hair is straight, but remember is like a natural straight. An Indian hair can lock, a white person hair can lock. But if a black person was to try to convert the hair to like a Chinese or an Indian, you have to take it off, because it will break, it will subsequently break. That's my experience over the 25 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. And to my audience, I'm speaking to you guys on Facebook Live. Did you hear he said Chinese? That's because he's Trinidadian. Germaine and Morris are Trinidadian, and Verona is from Jamaican background. I just wanted to let you know that I look after my Caribbean people. But it's the way when he said Chinese, my cheeks started to jiggle, you know, because we say that in the Caribbean, Chinese. Okay, that's really great explanation, Morris. But Verona, yesterday you and I were talking about, or day before, about the nutrients inside coming out that people are just not aware that they need to eat. You know, certain things make hair grow. Certain things are good for hair growth.
I mean, as Morris, you know, we was talking that when the hair comes out, it's just a result of what's going on inside. You know, I have my group, and what I mostly talk about, obviously, yes, we do talk about hair and the styling and the things that we put in it, is what are we consuming in our bodies? Where does our food come from? And, you know, how are we treating our liver? And, you know, if we're complaining, oh, my hair's dry or it's breaking or something's going on, then we haven't taken care of our body first. And, you know, I'm doing some biology work about the liver, and, you know, the liver's got about, I don't know, I think it's about 400 or 500 functions towards the body. Yes, it's a bit scientific, but a lot of things we can avoid of what our hair goes through if we take care of our nutrients by knowing what are the foods that we eat will contribute to us having healthy hair. Like there's a set of foods called the lycopene foods, which is like tomatoes and watermelon and, you know, all pinky, ready kind of foods, supplements. You know, I'm not really one to take tablets, but I like the organic effect. I mean, my aim is to not have any supplements, but to have it from my food. Water is really important. You know, when we talk about our menopause, and I think that we can avoid going through certain things with our hair, like the hair loss, if we take care of our body from an early age or prepare our body. And I think we should educate, like I educate my daughters about preparing themselves, you know, for menopause or things they go through, like their puberty, you know, how, you know, your mood set, what offsets all these mood sets, so mood swings and things like that. So I really think that we can do it. I mean, I'm 51. The doctor said I'm premenopausal. You know, there's certain things that do stop. You know, I don't want to be too graphical or anything like that. But I think there's, you know, there's 6 major things what we go through within our menopause, and those things don't have to happen if we educate ourselves. Again, you know, I'm high on that. And yes, it might be a bit boring thinking, well, Verona, just deal with my hair loss. I'm dealing with your hair loss by educating on your what supplements are you taking, what foods are you taking, are you using the herbs, you know, what you need to have within your body. So yeah, I deal with it from in, and then we can read it, because this is our roots here.
Okay, well, Germaine, you do that as well. You talk about internal health, making external growth more fluffy and nice. And also men also, sorry, going back to Verona, Jocelyn John says men also go through andropause, which has a chemical imbalance as well. So it's not just women. But Germaine, what do you recommend?
What do I recommend? So I would say that health plays a real important part in hair growth, because your hair is an appendage of your skin. You know, I keep speaking about the hair, skin, and nails conversation. So it goes back to, you need certain things in your diet to produce, for your body to operate right. As you know, because those are the precursors to building different types of cells. So you need a certain amount of proteins, you need a certain amount of vegetables, you need whole foods. So yes, you do need to look at what you are taking in and what your body needs to be able to grow healthy hair. But you must also understand that there are different things like detoxification that you have to look at. You must look also at the drugs, the medications that you are taking, and why you are taking this medication. As Verona said, nutrition, but then there are 6 top categories that you should also reflect on: stress. Stress puts so much toxins and actually get you ill. So yes, nutrition is vitally important, but you need to put all 6 parts together, reflect on them and understand the categories. And then you can now make a better recommendation. And like what Maurice was saying earlier, Maurice said that, Maurice, I like that. I'm going to borrow that. I like when you said that the 80 to the 100 strands of hair is like a bank. Yes, it is a bank. And that's why so many women, now I'm saying women, I see frequently with hair loss in the crown area of the scalp, not only because it's thinning out and they may be experiencing androgenetic alopecia also, but because of the weight, that banking, that length, it must be handled professionally. Ladies, you know, so I'm saying here to the audience, don't go and let everybody keep pulling at your hair. Get a professional who knows what to do when it comes to harnessing that hair and going easy on the scalp, because it's just like anything else. Lots of women come to me and after a while they end up with a particular type of hair loss that we call CCCA. It goes back to your autoimmune system because of the inflammation. They are losing their hair, and you know, it's sad to say that a lot of them have this natural style of locks and they don't know how to handle it. So more information need to be shared in consultation with persons going natural, so that at the ending of this time, just as how you started over, Sherry, from you cut it off and you started over. At the ending of that time, you will also still be able to have healthy looking locks, you know, so that you can really not, look at all those pitfalls, because nutrition is important, but the pitfalls of external physical traction with your scalp also cause a certain amount of inflammation, and that's when your immune system kicks in. And once that happens, fibrous tissue, what happens when you get, inflammation comes and fibrous tissue close off that follicle. So that's why some women have androgenetic alopecia, excited, so speaking fast. Trini, yes. Yeah, then I get excited, I speak fast, I treat. Yes, so you have 2 types of hair out here in the same place. So you have androgenetic alopecia, and you also have CCCA, which is cicatricial alopecia, central centrifugal, kind of, long name. So I'd stay with CCCA, right? And that one is the one that you have to be mindful of, because androgenetic alopecia, we could slow that one down. But you see, CCCA, if it's not caught in time, it destroys your hair follicles. So it's called scarring alopecia. So you have to jump on that very, very early.
I like all this. I could be here all day. Maurice, you was talking somewhere, someplace, you were talking about products. I remember, probably this is when I was interviewing you, when I was the beauty editor. You were talking about at that time why you were bringing out your own products, because you, and I'm sure Verona was saying the same thing, some of these products are tricky. They have things in them that break our hair, dry our hair, and so it's a bit weird that we're going to the hairdresser to get our hair washed, and then we buy the same products to take home, not realizing that half of them are breaking your hair up. What do you say about that? Because you started your own products. I know you did years ago. How many years ago was that? Not 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that I've got a product line that I'd actually started back in the 90s. I was playing about with it at the time in my kitchen and stuff, with different sort of baseline products and essential oils and base oils. And I was playing around with it, playing around with it, playing around with it. Came out with it officially when I opened up my salon in 2000. And then in 2003, 4, I met, you know, a chemist, a Sikh chemist, that they were working with a Veda. And I gave him the formulation that I had. And then they looked at it. But then I had to go through all of the stability testings and health and safety testings and all of that, because some of the oils that had blended with you know, I use shea butter. They were although they weren't separating, but they were crystallizing.
Yeah.
And we wanted to kind of put the right balance inside, using the right percentage of base oil with the shea butter, because shea butter is an oil by itself. So he went through it and he looked at it, and we came out with the line that I've got now. I've got like 6 different lines using different type of perfumes. The thing about it with the shampoo and the conditioners, unfortunately, you cannot really get a natural shampoo because of shelf life. All right, that is what I was told. I'm not a chemist in the sense of you know, of that. I've not gone and studied it. So what I was told and advised that if you're trying to create a natural shampoo and conditioner, you have to compromise with shelf life. Else it's going to be an expensive thing where you have to put it in a fridge and sell it, and it will go off after a period of time, right? So with compromise, it's something called laureth sulfate or whatever. That's the washing agent in the hair. You find it in loads of washing products. That strips away your natural oils in your hair. And then that's where the conditioner comes in. So you could have a better conditioner with better sort of agents, stuff, especially coconut. Coconut is one of the best conditioners that you can find on the market. So with me, where I would have cheated somewhat in order to achieve my own shampoo and conditioner, I didn't cheat with my lock-in formula, my sheen, and my oils. They are like natural. But yes, products have a very high contribution in the way your hair in the way your hair is treated. Because most of the times, lots of people believe that your hair really need oil, and I use the word need loosely. Oils and hair products, especially with natural hair, it's only like a supporting factor, you know, because remember, your hair is the highest extension of your body. And once your inside is right, it exercises naturally on the out. So sometimes you just need a little light, very light oil, you know, just to you know, to help furnish your follicles. Because as the doctor said, your hair, scalp is skin. And the same way you will treat your skin is the way you will treat your scalp, right? Obviously, having the right sort of diet, the right intake, the right exercise, you know, light hair products. You don't want things to build up too much in your hair. And also washing your hair thoroughly. Some of us wash our hair and everything goes right down at the back. And because you are dealing with locks, you're dealing with build up, you know, all that build up sometimes. So with my line, I try to have it quite light, very, very light. So when it goes into the hair, it comes out quite easily. Because you're talking about natural hair, so you have to have a natural product. So that's what we try to do. And I go to the experts just to verify, you know what I mean, the way I want it, the type of products that I want to go into my hair, because I want that type of safety net with my clients. When my clients come through the door, I want to be able to say to them, you know what, I could guarantee you this would work. And if it doesn't, then I go back to the source, and the source is the person who's working, who's distributing, who's developing the product for myself. And I order my own raw material abroad in Africa, and it comes in. So we know what is actually going into it. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When it comes to the shampoo and conditioner, I must say, I cannot give that 100% verification because it's more chemicalized, right? But when it comes to the other three, like the lock-in formula, the sheen and the oils, that's like on us.
I got questions for you guys. I liked what you said, Morris. I'm not dismissing you. We just have this stupid amount of time, and I can keep you all here all afternoon. Maybe I'll come with when I get back to London with my camera team and video it then. You see how I'm projecting? This is where I'm going, right? There's questions here, and I want you guys to answer it. Anybody? Linda Danzy Black says, what is the single best product that you can recommend for natural hair? Oh, and by the way, excellent panel presentation. Ooh, I chose you. All right, so you heard the question. So who's going to take that one? What is the single best product that you can recommend for natural hair? Morris, maybe that's yours or Verona.
Can I
could
just
be biased.
Oh, go on.
I will be biased and say Morris Roots.
Of course.
So we're talking about brands.
No, we're not doing branding, Morris.
Okay,
so,
I think the best product for natural hair,
yeah.
I believe it would be shea butter, which is one, right? And all of the base oils like coconut oil, peach caneel, almond oil, aloe vera oil, all those natural base oils, light base oils. There's a new oil I think that just came out recently that my chemist was telling me about. I've not tried it yet. But the oils that I just mentioned, along with shea butter, because like I said, shea butter, you just put it in the sun and it melts. And you could just use that in your hair afterwards. So I just think the natural products, natural oils. That's it. Nothing else.
Perfect. Thank you, Morris. Verona?
Yeah, I just want to also say, yes, all those things that Morris mentioned are great. I'm not a big fan of coconut oil on especially like the really kinky hair. It's good for locks. I know it's excellent for it, but the experience that I have and a lot of my clients and a lot of the women I have on my group, coconut oil, because I think the high's got a lot of protein in there, which is good for the stability of the hair, but it's a very thin and light oil, which kind of, you know, it's good and bad, but you know, for natural loose hair, I wouldn't use that singly on its own unless you're bringing it in with another oil. And as I said, for locks, it's great, but for really kinky hair. But again, you know, as I said, you know, I'm a bit of a, like, I'll go right to the detail of the hair, about your hair type and the porosity level, about your cuticles being open or closed. You know, the oils also depends on what. So you've got to know that. And again, it's about educating what type and porosity level is your hair when it's loose. Because I know locks is kind of like right across.
I get you. I understand that bit because I did cosmetology to a certain degree. Germaine, do you want to answer that before I go to the next question?
So I don't want to add much. I definitely love the shea butter part of it. Yeah, and then using what we call a cotton oil to loosen it up a bit. I use that in my granddaughter's hair and it's wonderful. So I will go back here. So both of you, as you said, coconut oil, I like in some instances, once you understand the heat of the oil, because all oils have a certain amount of heat. So some are drying and some are moisturizing. So once you look at something like almond oil to mix with that shea butter.
Bob's your uncle.
Yes, coconut oil.
Glad you talked about that. There's another question. Michelle says, can the panel add hair color to the conversation? We know it's not good, but most of us, whether black, blonde, or any other color, most of us do it. Add some bit of color. Any advice on treatment would be very helpful. So who's going to take that one?
Hair color. Me and Morris was talking about this, and hair color's kind of a thing which can be really harsh for the hair. And what we have to think about, you know, there's certain people that are allergic to color, because of what's in the color. Like some of them derive from coal and different things. And some of them like kind of gets into, I'm going to be really quick about this, but for me, it's education. It's not just about, right, what can we use? It's about why you're actually using it. So there's three things. One, where we get inhalation within our bloodstream, and that's by putting it on our skin for our pores, inhalation and consumption. So hair color, if we can kind of find out the natural ways of how to apply hair color, because I said nature works with nature, then we should do that as much as possible. Because as I said, one thing's getting to your bloodstream, then you create another color. But if you do have it, treatment, because your outer cuticle is open. So you need to find a way to close it so you have a smooth shaft when you're doing it. And then it all depends. Use Morris Roots treatments.
All right, Morris, I'll let you talk about that in the end. There's another question that says, is there any benefit in people making their own products at home? Well, of course, Morris is going to say no. Yeah. But come on, Morris, help us out here, and Germaine and Verona. There's people who want to do their own treatments at home, and what can they use? Just two tips.
Aloe vera. If you have use aloe vera. You use oils. Use organic baking soda. That's for detoxing the scalp. If you want to color your hair red, use something to clarify the hair, and then use like beetroot. You know, all those kind of things. There's amla seeds. There's tea rinses. There's so much things like to color the hair. Obviously, organic works a lot slower, but it's good for your health.
Okay. Morris, you want to add to that without the Morris Roots? You can do that at the end.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it for me with hair color is that you know, if you talking about coloring your hair from black to a red or a black or a brown, if you want to change your hair color, but if you want to do highlights, if your hair is getting a bit silver and you want a bit of black to it, then you don't need the hair color that carries the ammonia and the peroxide. You could just get like a rinse, right? That is 0.5%, has no kind of chemical effect to it. You just add water and you just put it in your hair and it's fine. And you also have the black browns, you've got the blues. It doesn't really affect the shaft of your hair. It just stays in for like 25 to 30 minutes. But when you're talking about actually changing the composition of the hair by adding peroxide and ammonia, I just think that that is when your hair becomes really, really dry and harsh, and you have to add a lot of unnecessary conditioners to it. But you know, you can use the water-based shampoo, the water-based dyes in your house with no ammonia and peroxide.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would have to do, because I get the gray hairs. No, don't talk about that, Sherry. You could be here for years. Okay. I know you all know what I mean. When the gray hairs, especially in lockdown. In lockdown, we had so many gray hairs popping out, and it's like, hello, did I invite you to come out? So,
great.
But we're not talking about that right now. But we have other questions, and I'm going to ask you them because I think it's only fair to do that. Somebody says, I've been using pure aloe vera in my hair daily. It's helped my locks to form at the front, especially at the front. I saw somebody else had asked another question that I want to know. Again, we got lots of people on here. I hope you don't realize that. You can go back and answer the questions if I don't get a chance to do them all. Somebody says, Morris has learned a lot since I went to his shop way back. Morris, you have been in the business a long time, you know, but you're looking young still. You're still looking young. What's going on? You're not just using that stuff on your head.
Nah, it's healthy eating and
Yeah.
and a lot of fasting.
Yeah, that's good.
You're fasting.
Yeah.
That's what lost the weight. You could have told us. No, but all of you are saying the same thing. I'm coming back to it. We're talking about is what you eat, and once you're into the meditation and mindset, because I heard you say on Afro Life, I'm plugging Afro Life. I heard you say that in this lockdown that you decided to take some time out so that you can regroup and find yourself and understand yourself. Is this something that you all believe? Boris?
Oh, yes. No, I believe in, I mean, the first 3 weeks of the year, I do a 21-day fast. Now, we grew up on that fasting. One, spiritually, and two, to give your whole system a break. It's right across, you know, my children do it. It's really important. So you know where you are, and I think, you know, and be in connection with your body, your spirit, and everything. So, you know, I speak health to myself. That's why if I was my camera's playing up, if I was to really depend on tablets, I don't think I'd be alive. So that's why I'm an advocate at, you know, the fasting, the meditation, speaking health to yourself. I speak to my hair, everything, because everything's a spirit. So yeah.
Everything is a thing, isn't it? So when you say to that thing, whatever you say good to that thing, it receives it. Like I always say to myself, well, you're a darn good looking woman for your age. and my body receives it. And I feel vibrant.
Oh,
I don't care what anybody else thinks. Germaine.
So I start my day with gratitude. I end my day with gratitude. And my morning is always with meditation. So because I know who I am,
right?
Wake, you know, when I wake, I say, it's praise the Lord, time to meditate, so that I would be able to bring something positive to the world today. And I go through my entire day telling people that I love, how much I love them, because it's so important, because it can be snapped in a moment. So it's so important for me to do as much as I can. So that's how my day goes. I stop, you see, I'm very excited and always, like, you know what young lady say, you are always smiling. I said, yes, because I have a lot to be thankful for. So I start my day with meditation. Sometimes it may be just not an hour, like, 15 minutes, but I practice gratitude for the entire day.
I like that. So more or less, all of us are saying the same thing. Practice gratitude, give thanks. And while we're doing that, you are saying the oils that basically we talked about blending and making up, we can use that opportunity to massage the hair, because isn't conditioning a very important aspect of hair care? A lot of people tend to wash and go, but that don't work with our hair.
Never. Angela Ma come out and say we don't wash and go on. There's things that we have to do in between, you know. So another thing, when you're doing well, people with locks know that you don't use those heavy conditioners, because that's all adding to the build-up and it doesn't need it. And when you use conditioner, only use it on the hair and not the scalp. The conditioner is meant to close down the outer cuticle, but when you put it on the scalp, then you're closing and you're blocking the follicles. So detoxing the scalp is so important. You should do that at least once every 3 months to get rid of all the things in the follicles and everything like that. And you feel better for it.
The sweat areas, which tend to be in the middle because we always have our hair up. You spoke about that. That's where the buildup tends to be a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, the build-up is there, but you know, as I said, I don't recommend that you have one style. Like when I do my every time, like I kind of, especially when I'm having my hair out, is to change your hairstyle. Don't do one hairstyle because one part will wear and, you know, put pressure on it. So, you know, change it up.
I like that. So I was trying to read, and you guys might have to go back and look at some of the questions because some of it is quite in depth. But somebody also asked about the coloring of hair. What can you use to color gray hair? Yeah, I need to know that one. But if you don't want to use the ammonia-based coloring, is there anything that can do that? Potato skin?
Yeah, there are loads of things like stay saffro. Do you know what I mean? Loads of beiging, loads of non-peroxide based colors that you just add powder and water, right? Yeah. You know, they don't you just get a box of it. It's probably costs about £2.
Right.
And then you just add water to it and just apply it.
Say those names again.
Stay saffro beiging.
Right.
Beijing as in the Chinese Beijing.
Okay.
No, but the thing about it is that all that you have to do is when you're looking for a color, ask for a color, a powder base with no ammonia and no peroxide.
Okay.
Right? And you just add water to it and then add it to it. And it's basically a rinse. It's just a bit more than a tea rinse. It's a black rinse, or a brown rinse, or an auburn rinse. You've got red in it as well.
And they don't have chemicals in them.
They don't have ammonia and peroxide. If they, but if they do carry any peroxide, it probably would be 0.5%. Nothing at all that would change the texture or color, which is why that if it's an auburn and you put it into your black hair, it definitely doesn't work the same way as how the black would work, because what it will do, it can blacken it, but it cannot lighten it, right? In order for you to lighten your hair and change that color composition, it has to have a chemical process. You need ammonia and peroxide in order to change black from, you understand? Yeah, because black is the strongest on the hue. Yeah.
Right. But a lot of people are saying, and I know this for a fact, there's a lot of fake products outside, and we have to be so careful. And that same product that you were talking about, the one with the orange box, is it Beijing? Whatever Beijing.
Yeah, Beijing was paper. Yeah, but you carry out a patch test. You do a 24 to 48 hour in our salons. All right, it is mandatory. We don't have no clients signing waivers. It is mandatory in our salons to run a patch test for every client, and it's kept for at least 6 months. So it expires in 6 months, even though that you are having your hair dyed.
Right.
You have to have a patch test, right? And that's, like I said, yeah, it's you know what I mean. Because your chemical composition in your body changes all the time. So even if you're using a color, you can still get outbreaks, right? So it's always wise to have that client do a patch test. It is the interest of the client, and it is the interest of the person.
Because the reason I say this is obviously I can see a question in the comments here, but also I tried it one time, dyed my hair, and then flew out the next day to go to my nephew's wedding. And when I got there, I just looked like my whole face had gone up in all these.
Yeah, it's allergic reaction.
I had an allergic reaction to it, and it took about 5 days, and then I had to take some antibiotics or something to make it go. That was the most miserable time ever. somebody else also said about Carol Blair says that you can also use henna. Henna is a good hair colorant.
But you have to know how to use henna. Henna is not just as simple as putting in. Henna can have the adverse effect where you can have like too much protein in the hair. Although it's a natural product, you have to know how to handle henna. So, you know, and then, you know, you have the raw henna where it's, you know, it goes orange, and then you have to put the indigo in it. So knowing the quantity of henna can have where it's good for like the Asian hair, the straight hair, but Afro hair, you know, especially the loose one, we're protein sensitive. So it can give us too much in it and strengthen it, because it's also a strengthener, but strengthen it too much where then you have breakage because it's got too much protein in it. So make sure you know and do your research on how to use it.
Thank you so much. All of you are contactable. They're definitely contactable. I could go on for hours, but I know that Morris has a salon in action where he's just told the staff to go and do what they have to do. So all of you, can you tell the people who are listening, maybe your last thing that you want them to remember about hair care, you know, your thing on it, and where can people contact you? Let's start with Morris.
The last thing I can say to people is, in terms of transition, if you are in the process of transition where your hair has been chemically treated for years and you want to venture into natural hair, seek a professional, seek professional advice. Don't just go onto YouTube. It's okay to go onto YouTube, but it's also good to have a proper consultation beforehand with a professional, right? A trichologist as well is very good to kind of to have, because sometimes a stylist doesn't really understand certain things about the science of the hair, and you do need a trichologist to assist you. So sometimes in combination, it's good, right, to have that professional talk beforehand. I mean, I am contactable. You just Google Morris Roots salons, and you know, all four of them would come up. We've got a website, www.morris-roots.com. Yeah.
Like how you just said, Google me. I like that. Just
Google me, baby.
I said, you know, you're right. Just Google me. Okay. Germaine.
So I would say to the beauty professionals, become more knowledgeable of the hair and scalp conversation. So whenever you look at someone's scalp, you look at their hair, you would be able, just from sight, to be able to understand the code of what is being said. By just simply looking at that person's scalp, once you become more knowledgeable, you will be able to help that client, because today, in today's society, hair loss is the cry. So to prevent and also scaly scalp conditions. So in order to prevent these things from happening, we use a lot of products for people with kinky hair, a lot of leave-in products I use that create buildup. We lose a certain amount of dead cells every single day. So it's so important for you to understand that that buildup, sometimes what you might call dandruff, might be simply dead cells. So it's all about becoming a little more knowledgeable. So that's what I would say to the beauty professionals, to the clients, to the consumers. I would say you also need to become more knowledgeable, and just not sit down and let somebody do it to you and then say, I didn't know. You know, become a little more knowledgeable so that you can ask the right questions. My contact is, you can get I have one code. You can get me on Facebook under Germaine Williams-Beckles, DTNC, as well as this one is drgslinks.com. drgslinks.com take you through my website, books that I have written, and all of that. And some of them you can actually get something on natural hair. So you can either drop it in the comments right here, Sherry, you know, and tell me, yes, you want that book. It's a little ebook on natural hair, natural ingredients, because one thing we didn't discuss, or I didn't say, flax seeds. Flax seeds is so important in our daily diet, both for use as well as topical use. You know, instead of some of the other gels, you can use flax seeds. You know, so you can always drop a note, and I would, you know, and I always email you that little book that I have, but it's Dr. G's. So it's DRGEES links LINK.com, and it's there, as well as you can just leave a note here, and I'll personally have, you know, someone.
Yeah, and when you guys finish, maybe if you got, I know you're busy, but if you could find time to put all your links in the Facebook live page so people can contact you. Not so that they ask you comment after comment and they don't want to come to you to pay. I just want to warn you all, I don't bring people on here so that you keep asking them questions and don't go and get consultation. Sometimes a 50-minute paid consultation can help you for lifetime. Am I right, Verona?
Yes, yes, it is. So I do about 2 or 3 lives on my page is Afro Hair Growth Challenge. I started it up because my hair was falling out. My mom died and whatever. So I wanted to understand the journey. Yeah, so I educate my women. Sometimes they don't want to hear what I'm saying, but I'm all about educating about, you know, the liver, the kidney, and everything. So education is key. I practice you not to buy your products by smell, and to actually every ingredient at the back of your product, to make Google your best friend, and just know what's actually going on your scalp. As I said, there's things that can seep into your bloodstream, and this is why we've got an increase in breast cancer, we've got an increase in fibroids. What's that one? And I never can say something where you get hairs and all that, and your testosterone is
associatism
gone higher. So educate yourself on ingredients, and then like Maurice Roots, we've got a hairline at which we're going to fully come out. We're actually doing it, but we're doing it by hair consultations. So just know who you're buying from. Know that, you know, you can get hold of like people like myself, Maurice Roots, and the consumers, because they're passionate about what goes into your products, and they're not just there to say, right, okay, let's have a pretty bottle or a pretty smell. So don't just shop by smell, shop by what is going on my hair, because it's just as important by what's going in your body. And drink water, drink lots of water.
Lots of water. I mean, in the audience, we've got some good people who have been on my show already, and one of the subjects we'll be talking about is endometriosis.
Yes.
Or did I say that right? And hair, the hair products has a lot to do with that, and people just don't realize it. But you'll have to listen to that show. We're 1 hour and 10 minutes into our show. You know I love you all, and I will bring you back again, but different topic, you know, same here, but different things. Maybe I'll bring you back because I know somebody. Oh, there's this last question. Sorry, this last question is from me. I brought a lot of products with me when I came here, right? Not that the people don't sell products here, but you know what we're like. We like to have a stack of our own. How long does it actually last? Does anybody know how these products last? Or should I keep it in the fridge?
There are certain products, if you look at the back of it, they've got an open jar, they've got 6 months, 1 year. Each of them have open jars, sort of like expiry date. So they might have like an open jar. If you look at the back or the side around by the barcode, there's a jar, and then there's like 6 and M on it. right? Most products, most legitimate products that have gone through the proper testings and stuff, health and safety testings, they will have an open jar symbol. So you just look on it and you would see that jar with a 6 months or 1 year on it, or whatever amount that is on there. And that is what's going to give you the guide.
Perfect. Germaine, you were going to say something?
Yes, that most products, shelf life is usually 2 years from factory to consumer. The issue with an open jar is contamination. That's what I found with some clients when they bring in products to show me what they have been using. So contamination, because they may just dip their hands in the product, whether it's clean or not, and get
after
with it.
They finish frying fish.
Yes, double dipping. So what I would say to you, Sherry, once you are in the Caribbean, we have basically 2 seasons. So yes, the French works wonders, as far as lifespan of your products. Once it's open, yes, I advise you to, you can place it in a much cooler place like the fridge door so that it's not very cold, but it is, it's a different temperature to the outside environment once you're in the Caribbean, yes.
Okay, thank you. And Judy Lewis, I can see all your questions coming in, but we're at a close now because these people do have real jobs. But I'm sure that they will answer it in the session, they will answer it, because she's right. She's asking about hair in the Caribbean and hair in England is 2 different things. When I'm here, it's really nice and soft and, feels lovely and fluffy. And I go to England and it's dry like coconut husk, right? So right about that. You would think it's the other way around, but it's not. I think we get humidity in the islands in comparison to England, where you've got the dry air con and stuff like that. But maybe we'll come back and do small sessions talking about hair conditioning and stuff like that, and not necessarily so many questions. I'd like to thank you all, and also thank you on behalf of the audience who will not only watch today, who are watching today, and the ones that will come on afterwards. I'd like to thank you for joining me. Thank you, Morris, more so because of the hair.
Thank you.
Really good. Everything about, I forgot to tell them that you also do swimming caps. I heard that on Afro Live. Swimming caps that keep out, yes, Afro Live. Swimming caps that basically can hold up a lot of hair underneath it. So they could go to your website and check all those things out. And you do deliver, don't you, to Guyana? Just telling you in advance.
We deliver globally.
Thank you very much, because if I go on there, you don't deliver, then I'm coming back to talk about you again. Thank you, Germaine. The 2 Trinis on my show. It's the first time that I've done a webinar with real Caribbean people. It's not only just British, right? You lot are Trinis to the bone.
To the bone.
To the bone. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you again. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.